Good morning. Man, this looks like there might be some snow in the rain. I just got like these brand new hats that I'm not sure my work's gonna like because they're kind of encompassing over the face, but they're great for really bad weather. But I didn't bring them. I should have brought them. Oh boy. Somebody was saying something about a guy I don't know but I really like, and I once saw him talking to somebody with such a look of joy on his face and happiness and friendship, and just like the expression on his face was so wonderful, like that. Like, I'm so happy that guy feels like that, and I hope I feel like that. And I was thinking about it, I started crying a little bit, and it was like I was crying from like just happiness and just like that. It was a good feeling, It wasn't bad, and I wasn't jealous or how come I can't feel like that or anything like that. It was just like I know that I've had moments like that, and I know I will have moments like that, or I wouldn't be able to recognize a moment like that. And then I realized as I was crying how much crying I've been doing this year, and I'd see people crying at work, and I asked somebody, I'm like, how often do people cry at work? And the guy says like, oh, I see it several times a day. And I'm like, several times a day, every day? He's like, oh yeah, every day. And I'm like, wow, like something's really wrong, and the answer is like, yeah, like it sucks to go someplace that makes you cry. But then I looked into crying, about studies on crying, which is kind of interesting, because the only thing that all the studies can agree on is frequency. And oddly enough, like the vast majority of people around the world report crying more often a month. Like the number's pretty high. But in the United States, the number like drops down to like twice a month, or maybe 3 times a month for men. And I think I on average I can, like, I'd go a whole year and maybe cry 3 times, and the crying that I have is like those 3 times will be like watching Fiddler on the Roof, a really sad movie, watching a movie where the hero dies or something, and I didn't think anything of it. Like, so I had a girlfriend I was with a long time ago. I was with her for a long time. She's like, I've never seen you cry. And I'm like, well, nothing's happened to make me cry. And like, she seemed like confused. And I'm like, well, I cried, when we went to see that one movie. And she's like, that doesn't count. I'm like, why doesn't that count? And now I realize why it doesn't count, because I'm like, now I'm crying all the time, and it's just like massive amounts of emotion just like coming out of me, and I'm like helpless before to do anything other than just kind of ride it out. And I was wondering about that. I remember thinking like, I didn't learn anything really about love and relationships and family until I got Aquila. Like, I mean, I thought I knew, and I thought I understood, what's going on, but then I got Aquila, and I realized I had no idea, I was just like, I was doing baby steps up until then, like, and when I was a child, my parents would, if I was crying, would send me to my room and like, come out when you're done crying. And so I think that for one, what an awful thing to do. But I think that what that taught me is developing as a child was that tears were no good. Tears basically remove you from the situation. Get away from everybody and go experience your grief and sadness. And then when you're done experiencing grief and sadness, then you could come back. So it was not even just boys aren't supposed to cry or men aren't supposed to cry. It's like you're not even the lesson was something like you're not even supposed to feel grief or emotion or sadness. So it's not you're hiding the tears. It's like you're hiding the fact that you feel that way. You shouldn't feel that way where people can see. But then it didn't. Then so that is something you learn as you're developing as a human being, and then it's not that I'm gonna go cry privately in my room today. It's like you just don't even cry. I was looking at I don't know what, there was different studies on so people who repress their emotions and the physical effects it has on them, and the psychological effects it has on them, and I was able to recognize a fairly large amount of them, that feeling you get in your throat and whatnot, and also that when sometimes one of the things that I've had to say a whole bunch in my life, and I now realize that there's more to it than what I thought was, you don't get to dictate how I feel. Something bad would be happening, and people say, you stayed so calm, and you'd be a good EMT or something like that. They're like, you don't let anything get to you, and or why aren't you reacting to this situation? And I would always be like, I am reacting. But now I realize that they weren't trying to control my emotions. Well, maybe some of them were. But really they were saying I'm surprised that you're not crying. I'm surprised that you're not upset or angry or, any of the wide variety of emotions that you're you just don't show, because that removes you from the situation. If I had to show you how, if I had to bring those emotions out, I'd have to go, sit in my room until they were over, and then come back and have something to say, some plan and idea of what to do. Yeah, so much of my life has been that, something awful is happening, so now I have to remove myself from the situation because it's too awful, and nothing in my life has said well, go ahead and just let your emotions out, go ahead and cry and yell and scream and whatever, all the things, bring them all out. Oh, so I got a waterproof high-vis jacket on today, and I've got plenty of warm stuff, so I'll be all right. I just kind of wish I would have brought those hats just to try them out. All right, it's time to come to work.